Welcome to episode 82 of the AskShell.com podcast. We are answering emails from homeowners like yourself that have been submitted through AskShell.com. Myself is Morgan and Shell Busey. Shell, how are you today?
I'm absolutely great and all ready for these interesting questions, and it certainly sounds as though we're in the spring.
Right, yes, and we wanted to mention you were actually out at the Rona last weekend for the grand open in Tsawwassen.
In the Tsawwassen Mills, and it was really a great 4-day event, and I hope everyone that's living in the Ladner, Richmond, Tsawwassen, North Delta, and anywhere in between to drop down to the Tsawwassen Mills. That's on your way out to the ferry terminal, and take a look at the new Rona store. Mac Foster and his two sons, and Jamie and Joel are just doing a great job. And take a look at it. You'll like it.
It's in behind the big new Tsawwassen Mills Mall.
Exactly. Back in by Canadian Tire.
Yeah, so if you get to Tsawwassen Mills, just go in behind it, and that's where the Rona is. There's Walmart, Canadian Tire, and Rona all in the back there.
Yep.
On this week's podcast, we've got the question and answer by Tony Gioventu, our Condominium Home Owners Association Executive Director. And we want to talk about the BC Home and Garden Show.
Yes.
We're getting into home show season.
You
the
betcha.
BC Home and Garden Show is next weekend at BC Place. We will have a few of our referral members that are in the show.
Yeah.
We've got Bakerview Heating and Cooling. Look for them. They're going to actually have a cutout of Shell in their display.
Can't miss that one.
21st Century Roofers will be there. Chick Liquid Vinyl, Smart Garage, Atlas Vinyl.
That
Sundex.
Smart Garage is a roll-up door, you know.
Smart, yes, and it's metal, correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
very secure. And Novus Glass as well. They got South Surrey, Langley, Aldergrove locations. So if you've got some time next weekend, go down to BC Place. It's Wednesday to Sunday. Go check that out. You'll get a lot of great home and garden ideas. And Shell, are you going to make it down to for a day? Or?
Oh, there'll be a day in there that I'll make it down there, but being that we're moving this weekend, it's one of those things that we'll be working, Frankie and I, to get everything moved from one home to the other. And but we'll make it down there one day. And but certainly all our people, and also AskShell.com is available to them. And also, folks, if you're planning on doing any renovations at all, be it decks, be it windows, be it inside renos, putting in a suite in the basement, whatever. Don't forget, Shell Busey's Home Improvements and Renovations are at your service right here at this location at 2320 King George Highway by calling 604-542-2236. It's just that easy, folks. So
yes, and don't think about your outside projects later on. Now is the time when you want to be scheduling those projects.
Absolutely. Get yourself in queue.
Yes. Emails I have for you today, Shell. Exterior stucco staining coming out of a bay window, an odor from a shower drain, a Formica lifting from a countertop, toilet just seems to be flushing by itself, and a stovepipe freezing over. Our first email for you, Shell. My home is 45 years old. I have white stucco on the top half of the two-story home and vinyl siding on the bottom half. On the south side of our home, we have two bay windows side by side. Both are 69 inches wide by 55 inches high. On the bottom corners of each window, the stucco below is stained a black color. How do I repair this, and how do I stop it from reoccurring? Thank you, Maria.
Well, Maria, one thing that I can honestly say that very likely, because you haven't mentioned it, you haven't had any sealant, or it hasn't been coated with anything over those 45 years. Stucco, I mean. Or caulked around the windows, because you'll have the old aluminum framed windows. And that being the case, what happens is that the stucco mesh, that's your outside corner, and also in the corner of your windows themselves, will get the water working in towards the flash, not leak inside the house necessarily, but it will get the oxidation taking place, and you'll get the black showing up at the corners running down. You can take that off with a number of things. You can take it off with Shell Busey's home cleaning formula. You can take it off with the that's the environmentally friendly stain remover that we have now.
Yes, made from Wash Safe Canada.
That's right, and we have that here at the location here at 2320 King George Boulevard. But the most important thing is, Maria, you should be looking at having your stucco coated. And that's why, for example, at the home show, Chick Liquid Vinyl's there. Excellent process that they have for sealing older homes, especially homes that are 45 years of age, stucco. And you won't have that happen again. So look into that. Stucco sealing is very important. Otherwise, you could even get a granular component within the stucco itself, and a piece of iron oxide, for example, and it will rust and run down the side of the window and show up at the bottom. And it could be on the north side. It could be just a real good deep stain of algae. So there you have it. It's very simple to take care of, either yourself by cleaning, but I would definitely suggest give us a call and let us give you an estimate on what it would cost to have it coated, and then you have a nice sealed and might say airtight home.
And if you want, you could change the color, go to a different color.
Oh yeah, absolutely, many colors, thousands actually. And your choice.
And Chick Liquid Vinyl will do a free estimate for you. So
you bet. And don't forget, Mother Nature sends everything back that we send up. So all those exhaust and all those ingredients of the environment up there, it rains down, it comes, snow, it comes down, and you get it obviously leaking and staining around the windows. That's how it happens.
Next email. My shower drain has started to smell over the past several months. I have tried baking soda and vinegar several times and a commercial product, either Zep or Drano. I have called in a plumber. He snaked the drain and said it was clear. He told me it is probably a bacteria that is hard to get rid of and told me to pour bleach down the drain, which I have not done as I'm worried about the caustic effect. I have removed the drain cover and put a brush down to clean the top of it. I would appreciate any suggestions on how to remove this odor. Thanks, Barb.
Well, Barb, what you have is something that's very common. It's something that we hear a lot about over the winter months especially, and I see that you're from Prince Albert, and dry, cold weather, especially when you get wind chill factors of in around 20 and 30 below zero, that is drying your home out. That's drying your inner air cavity, the air that you live in. And that air, being very dry, evaporates water very quickly, and that water will evaporate out of your drains. So if you're not showering or bathing every day, or possibly you're using a shower and a bath, but the bath is not as common as a shower, then that particular trap may be drying out. And if it is, then you've got to keep filling it. You've got to keep filling it. So every 2 or 3 days, go in, turn the faucet on, and leave it on for 10 or 15 seconds, and let it fill up the drain, and then you won't have that. Or you could even put the mechanical drain cap down, the plug. Keeping in mind that a lot of people don't like putting plugs in their tubs in the event if there's a leak. Well, keep in mind, that's why you have an overflow. Because it ever did leak that much and it did fill up to the overflow, it's going to overflow anyway down the drain. So those are things that will keep odors out. But as far as cleaning, use hydrogen peroxide. You can buy it at your local, well, actually you can buy it pretty well anywhere, but certainly a drugstore. And put a bottle of that down in about a cupful would be more than adequate, and that will kill a lot of the bacteria that's in there, and also clean it. So that's another way that you can do it. And take your brush that you do have available by the sound of it and give it a good scrubbing there and rinse it. Do not, and you're doing the right thing, do not put bleach down that drain, because bleach will react on plastic. And when you have bleach, and if anybody else has tried this, what happens is the bleach gets down, it takes this shiny surface off of the plastic, and now it becomes more susceptible to picking up bacteria and causing the odors. So those are some items that you want to take into hand and clean it out and keep it clean, but don't be putting anything down there that's anything more than an environmental cleaner. You can even use, again, the Shell Busey home cleaning foam. Right. Yeah, it's good.
What about products like Drano? I've heard that they do more damage than...
Never.
Is that like bleach, basically? Does the same thing?
It's even stronger than that.
Oh, okay.
And it will take the finish off. But keep in mind, Morgan, when you're putting anything down the drain, if you over apply, then it's going to go down the drain anyway. Because once it's over the trap, it's gone. So it's a waste of money. There's thousands upon thousands of dollars of goods put down drains that never comes back, other than it affects the environment out there in the fisheries,
Right.
out in the streams. So don't do it.
Excellent. Next email. Good day from Saskatchewan. My daughter installed a new countertop about 1.5 years ago, and since doing that work in her house, the contractor went bankrupt and left town. Now the problem
Nice
is,
guy.
yeah, we've heard that before. Now the problem is the Formica is lifting up in the center of the countertop. It has separated about 12 inches in diameter. Is there any solution other than to replace the new Formica? Any help would benefit her. Thank you, Nick.
Well, it sounds as though somebody might have set a hot pot on the countertop. That's what it sounds like, especially when you say it's a round spot.
Yeah.
And having a round spot would normally cause that type of grief. But on the other hand, let's say it is separated or delaminated. And if that is being the case, what we can suggest to you, you're not going to be able to fix it. You're not going to be able to drill a hole. You're not going to be able to do anything to get adhesive under there. No, no, no. Go to your local building supply store or someone like IKEA and buy yourself a drop-in cutting board. And very simply, router out the area, which is the size of the cutting board, and drop it down in. And it is just that easy. Now you got a cutting surface or a place to put the hot pot, which
Right.
might have caused it in the first place. But if you don't want the cutting board drop in, then consider routering out and putting in a patterned ceramic tile
Right.
pattern. So
You actually have got a video of yourself doing that from your Home Check TV show.
exactly. Maybe you could show that, or
I will
show the link.
put up on our website.
Yeah, yeah.
Of that. I just edited that video the other day, so I know where
Just-
it's at.
There you go. So that allows you to router it out, whatever size of pattern you want in ceramic tile. Put it in with your silicone adhesive caulking. Bingo. Smooth it off at the joint seams. Everything's just toppy-door.
And you can even get a few different ones and make a little pattern
Oh,
in
yeah.
there. Be a little inventive,
Yeah,
creative.
Creative, you betcha. Yep. So it's just that easy.
You are listening to episode 82 of the AskShell.com podcast. We are answering emails submitted by homeowners through AskShell.com. Coming up, our condo question of the week with Tony Gioventu. This week is on emergency preparedness and how to get people in your strata to be ready if an emergency happens. And reminder, the BC Home and Garden Show is next weekend at BC Place. More than 425 exhibitors. It starts Wednesday, February 22nd, goes till Sunday, February 26th.
In BC Place.
BC Place admission $16, seniors $13, kids under 12 are free, and it's at BC Place, so that means there is transit to get you there. So no excuses not to go down and check out the show.
You bet.
Next email, Shell. We live in a 2-story house built in 1993. All of a sudden, the bathroom toilets are making a flushing sound and no one is around. What could cause this? Thanks, Marion.
Oh, Marion, you got ghosts in your home. But no, again, that is something that oh golly, I would say maybe half a dozen times a year would get the phantom flusher, and the phantom flusher actually is telling you that you've got a ball conch valve in your toilet tank that's a little weak. Now, the ball conch valve is the valve that the float with the arm is attached to. So as soon as you flush the toilet, the float goes down, and as soon as water is drained out and flush the toilet bowl, then the water will start coming in, and as the float goes up, it shuts the water off. Now, what's happening during the nighttime or during the daytime, when there's lesser degree of demand on water supply in the area, then you'll get surging going on within the line, within the city line. And when you get surging taking place, that float's doing this, and it'll go shh, shh, and then all of a sudden it'll go shh, and it'll flush. And it's surging of the water pressure filling the tank. I've found that the best way to correct it is turn the water right off in the on the supply line underneath the toilet tank, turn it right off, and then flush the toilet, emptying the tank, and then turn it on just ever so easily until such time as you hear the water starting to fill. Don't turn it on wide open. Just Turn it on to the point that you feel that it's filling fast enough. Now the valve may be 2/3 closed, and now you'll lose that surging that takes place. Another thing it may be, a number of homeowners had this problem when they had a water meter installed. There's a lot of the cities now in Greater Vancouver that are having water meters installed by the Greater Vancouver Water Supply, GVRD. Okay, and they will do that as well, because you're getting a more of a water supply pressure into your home. So you might have even noticed that your water pressure has gone up. So those are items that will cause that. But the toilet, normally it's that float valve, the ball cock filler valve. It's just that easy.
Beautiful. Last email before we get Tony Gioventu's question in here. Hi, Shell. Thank you for taking the time to look at my problem. I bought this house several years ago. The previous owners had a wood-burning stove in the basement, but it was removed prior to me moving in. But the insulated stovepipe still goes through the concrete wall. During the winter, this pipe freezes up, and when it thaws, water runs down the concrete wall behind a finished wall. Is there anything I can do to prevent this from happening? I know the ideal solution would be to remove this pipe and all the pipe going along the outside of my wall approximately 20 feet. I don't know how expensive this would be, but is there any way of insulating around the pipe, putting in a vapor barrier, and then putting drywall up against the wall? Thanks, Gary.
Well, Gary, yes, it's very easy to do. Again, it's some of the items that people do forget about is open holes in a home will allow air to go and or come. And that is either negative pressure or positive pressure in the home. So if you've got warm, moist air in the basement, finding its way to that outlet through the wall, even though it's in behind the drywall, air leaking in around the bases, in around the ceiling, might have a drop ceiling in, air that's being allowed to pass in from the outside into that open vent that's on the wall on the outside. Anything that's going to allow air to move, and that air carrying moisture is going to obviously condense, and it's going to freeze. So you get ice, and when you get the ice melting, you get the water running. And what you want to do from the outside, forget about doing anything on the inside, because obviously it's got drywall over top of it. Take the outside wall cap, whatever it may be, if it's a hood or if it's an actual termination cap for a chimney vent, or it might have been a fireplace or one of the natural gas or whatever, or propane. So what you do is take the diameter and cut it out of one of your rigid foam sheets, and have at least 6 inches, 3 2-inch pieces, and shove it back into that pipe, and caulk it off with a acoustical caulking, and then let's go over top of it with a plywood cap, and then you can patch it with the stucco on the outside. But you stop the air carrying the moisture, either coming from the inside or the outside, and freezing. Once you stop that, you get the problem taken care of. But you got to stop the air carrying the moisture from moving one way or the other, and one being colder than the other, you're going to get condensation and you're going to get freezing. It's just that easy.
Excellent. Moving on to our condo question of the week. This is submitted by Tony Gioventu, the Executive Director of the Condominium Home Owners Association. You can see Tony's articles in the province and the 24-Hour magazine and many other publications across Western Canada. So, Shell, I am going to read Tony's question, and you will take his answer for us.
You betcha.
Excellent. Dear Tony, our Strata had a minor fire a couple of months ago. Most of the construction is complete, and the owners and tenants have moved back into the suites that were damaged. There were no injuries, and most of the damages were water related. The event did raise a number of serious questions for our Strata. No one had an owner or resident list, a pet list, or any idea of what to do in the event of an emergency. If we had an owner with serious mobility issues, no one knew, and no one was in charge. The fire department was amazing at evacuating the building, but it would have been much easier for them if we had an updated resident list. We are trying to organize our strata into an emergency plan, but the owners are not willing. Is there any regulation that forces us to plan? Not a bad idea, but I suspect it is unlikely. Thanks, Karen R.
Wow. Well, that's an interesting question, and thank you again to Tony Gioventu, folks, for giving up his time to answer these questions for the condominium strata people that have got concerns with this type of thing. And it goes to show you, if you ever read about or hear about an item that has taken place, like a fire or something that has been caused from either a vehicle crashed into a building or whatever, and you hear the stories about no insurance. Well, at least this is a way that people will find the importance of having insurance.
Right.
So Tony writes back to Karen, Dear Karen, strata corporations, multifamily residents, commercial industrial buildings, and institutional buildings are all required to have a fire safety plan. The plan is essential for residents to understand their emergency exits or safe refuge in the building. However, the plan only has value if the residents know about it. Keeping a fire safety plan on a dusty shelf in an electrical room or buried in strata files is of certainly no value whatsoever. Across Canada and in BC, we are likely to face building fires, forest fires, landslides, floods, earthquakes, tsunamis, windstorms, ice storms, and an extension of snow. And goodness knows we know about that this year on snow events. The development and enactment of the emergency plan is for the protection and safety of your residents, their pets, and your property as well. Start by going to gov.bc.ca/preparedbc and download the resource planning handybook. It's all there for you. Identify someone in your strata who is willing to be the team leader for planning and the education of your owners. This does not have to be a council member, and in most cases it's better not to be a council member. But this person will need access to important information and records to develop a working plan for everyone. The planning should educate your strata community on how to prepare and how to respond to emergencies and provide educational information for residents and their families. Start by developing an inventory of pets and residents. Everyone has a mobility issue should be identified to enable emergency services to assist them as a priority. A building plan to assist rescue workers is critical. The plan may also locate shutoffs for services such as water, gas, and electricity. Once you have your basic information gathered, host a residents' information meeting. Resident meetings to develop emergency plans are also a great way to build a community. Get together, let everybody know. Canvass other strata residents who are willing to provide leadership and education. Instruct residents on personal emergency preparedness, the need for personal insurance, emergency supplies, and evacuation of the building. A set assembly area and an ideal for resident safety, and to be able to identify residents still in the building. The basics that everyone should prepare are water, non-perishable food, flashlights, portable radios, medication, personal papers, and ready cash, and a whistle, first aid kit, and a safe clothing and footwear. It may not be possible to return to your units in the event of an emergency. In a major event, it could be days before help arrives. Planning today will save lives and prevent injuries tomorrow. So, folks, it's very, very important. Like I have, for example, a buddy system going in a building that we live in. And the gentleman that I have a buddy system with, he phones me between 7:30 and 8:30 every morning. And if he doesn't, I phone him to make sure that everything's okay. It's just that easy, folks. For goodness sakes, don't take the approach that everything is so private that you don't want to let anybody know where you are, what you're doing, or what you should be doing when it comes to an emergency. Right. It's just that easy.
And this isn't just for people in stratas. This is for detached home.
You got
Go over it with your family,
your
have
children.
Evacuation routes.
Yep.
I know in our house we had a drop ladder that would go out the window if you're on the top floor, know where that is. Yep. And if you're in a neighborhood, even canvass the neighborhood possibly and let people know if there is a fire, make sure we're going to be here, double check, make sure so everyone knows your pets and everything of that sort.
Get together, and spend some time together, because it's very important. When that alarm goes off, you have no idea what it is.
Right.
So let's get with the project.
Good stuff, Shell. Well, that's it. We've come to the end of episode 82. To have your email answered in episode 83 of the AskShell.com podcast, it is simple. Just go to AskShell.com. That's AskShell.com. Submit your question. You can even include a picture along with it. Remember about the home show next weekend as well. And tell your friends and family about the podcast. And Shell will talk to you in a couple weeks for episode 83.
Absolutely. And folks, keep in mind, the podcast is for your benefit. Anything that you have, any concerns that you have with your home, cottage or otherwise, you let us know. And we know about the apartments and the strata, the townhouses and the condominiums. So until next time, don't forget, we love you all. Bye-bye for now.